You're thinking about getting a Husky. All right, well, let's go over 3 truths today just to determine whether or not a Husky is a good fit for your home. All right, guys, number one, Husky hair, don't care. Shedding. Huskies shed all year round. There's nothing we can do about it. We can try to mitigate it. There's lots of brushes we could do, different diets, but at the end of the day, they lose that hair. So it gets in your car, it gets on your toothbrush, it gets in your bed. It's just part of the life. When you're choosing a Husky, it's just the way it goes. I thought to myself when I first got Cash, I can never wear black ever again. About 3 months later, got sick of that, put the black clothing on, and now I wear the Husky hair as a badge of honor. We call it Husky glitter here in the community. But yeah, so it's just something you have to really get used to and understand that it's going to happen no matter what you throw at it. All right, guys, cost. How much does a Husky cost? I get this question a lot, which is a strange question to me because there's so many variables to this. Like, you can get a Husky for free on the side of the road. You could go to a rescue and adopt one. Usually they're free to $500 just depending on the adoption fee. Or you could sort out a breeder who does championship level AKC, and that will cost you $1,000 to $3,000. But it's a weird question because the cost of a Husky, or at least the initial cost, is the cheapest part. So buying a Husky is like the cheapest part. It's X amount of dollars, you walk away, you're a new Husky owner, right? But the most expensive part of it is everything that comes after. The years of buying food, the vaccinations, everything, right? Emergency vet bills. So the question is a little strange to me, but I always tell people, if you're worried about the initial cost of a Husky, then you can afford a Husky. And that doesn't mean you can never afford a Husky. I'm just saying maybe figure out your finances, make a plan for the future, do a little more research before getting that dog. But at the end of the day, we need to, put that cost in effect when thinking about making such a grand purchase, because this dog will be with you for 10 to 15, 20 years. I mean, look at Bobby. He's 32. But yeah, so cost is a very important question. So it's a good question to have, but if you are concerned about that initial cost, you might want to rethink your options here. For example here, Cash, his monthly budget for food is about $100 to $110 depending on what I choose to do for him. I have vet bills. I mean, just vaccinations alone, and you're looking at $600 to $700 a year. So there's a lot of stuff, and this also depends on where you're located in the world. Different things, different costs everywhere, obviously. But at the end of the day, just make sure your finances are in order. A lot of times what happens is that people don't really think about the finances before they jump in head first, and it kind of puts them in a precarious situation down the line. And for these Husky dogs, they deserve the best. Dogs deserve the best at all times. So at the end of the day, just make sure your finances are in order. Yep, that's when you have a Husky and you try to film. Third one here is exercise, right? So we all heard of Balto, and in just recent years, most people have heard of Togo. But at the end of the day, Huskies need exercise. They're just like every working dog breed. They need a little bit of mental and physical stimulation. The difference between Huskies and, like, say, a Border Collie is that Border Collies are about 50-50 with mental to physical stimulation. Mental, basically, like, they need to have a job that's going to mentally stimulate their brain. So whether that's herding cattle, a frisbee, a ball, playing catch, those things Border Collies are naturally great at, right? And we need both. So they need 50% physical, so that's why, and then 50% mental. That's why throwing a ball, frisbee, cattle is a great option for a Border Collie. Huskies are a little different. Now, Huskies are very strange working dogs because they are about 70 to 30 as far as physical to mental, right? They need 70% physical, 30% mental. And the 30% mental isn't really even necessarily the normal mental that you see, like, say, that for that Border Collie. Most Huskies will not chase a ball, most will not catch frisbees, and some obviously can be trained, and every dog is different, but most will not. That 30% of stimulus will actually come from the walk itself, but the other 70% is physical, and the physical is basically just running, right? That's what they train Huskies to do. Physical, just go forward, run, just go. So that's what their innate needs are, and so we have to try to live our lives as human beings on the planet, which we can't just be outside all day long every day. So we have to try to figure out, within the time limits that we have available to dedicate towards them, how can we make it so that they are happy and healthy and that physical stimulation is being met. And the strange thing about Huskies, and there's not a lot of reasoning to this, but for whatever reason, they have grown to be very adaptive dogs. In Siberia, when they were being raised and bred originally by the Husky people, there wasn't a lot of variance when it came to weather. There wasn't a lot of variance when it came to like day-to-day change. So we don't really know why they are such adaptive breed. But for, most Huskies, you can live in Florida, you can live in Arizona. They do well in Canada. They do well in Michigan. That's where I'm at. But for whatever reason, they had this weird ability to adapt, and then that goes with the physical, but also mental. So they had this weird ability to actually. In some households where, like for me, I get cash out for 10 to 20 miles a day. And he does extremely well, obviously. But then for other households that are more family oriented and they don't get out as much, they're okay with 2 to 3 miles. So it's just weird variance, but they seem to think that it all stems from when they're puppies. So the first 6 months of a Husky's life will kind of determine what kind of dog they are. So what they say is that if you are with them in the very couple months there and super physical and you're super outside, they're going to be that kind of dog. But if you're more family oriented, you're more of a lazy couch potato, they're going to be that way as well. And that's why you see these different variations with Huskies. So it really depends. If you get a Husky when they're a puppy, that first 6 months is extremely important to kind of determine what kind of dog they're going to be. So just be prepared for that. Your life. But me and Cash are in the middle of a 10-mile hike. He is getting a little antsy, so we better be getting while the getting's good. But just make sure you like, comment, subscribe. The subscribing really helps. Commenting below, just whatever things I've missed a ton here. Obviously we can go over 15,000 more things, but if you want to add something in the comments, feel free. But we're gonna be getting while the getting's good before Cash has a panic attack. And we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye. You ready to go for a walk? Let's go. Come on. Ready? Come on. Yeah, there you go. Cashy. Hi, Bobby.